When your Minister of Tourism invited me to speak here, I was a little taken back because he's a gentleman that I have a tremendous amount of time for, an individual I've known for many, many years, and more recently as a colleague Minister of Tourism. And I wondered, why would Ricky, excuse me for the familiarity, want me to come here and speak to you? Because you have got such a tremendous Minister of Tourism. What could I really add to the pot to really help you in any way? After hearing him speak tonight, I'm even absolutely more convinced as to why am I here. I want to say to you that all of you should be very, very, very proud of the individual that you have here, with the level of knowledge and in particular the commitment that he has not only to St. Kitts and Nevis, but also to the Caribbean. And I really want to implore upon you that he's going to need your help. Because where he's had the ability of speaking specifically at all times about St. Kitts and Nevis, over the next 2 years, he is going to have to speak very generally about St. Kitts and Nevis, and very particular about the Caribbean. And it is an unenviable job, one in which he will get no pay. He will be asked to attend a lot of different meetings and confront a lot of difficult situations. And he is going to need the support of the people from St. Kitts and Nevis. Because not only he's going to be representing himself, but he's going to be representing your country at the highest levels. And that's a job that I know he can do very, very well. And I certainly have given him my support. So again, Ricky, congratulations, and I wish you much luck. In being chairman, he has inherited a list of things already. Many of you may have heard of the APD tax that the UK government is imposing. This is a tax that we in the Caribbean have indicated to the UK government that we have no difficulty with any government in the world wanting to raise money. And certainly one would have to be very sympathetic to the British government, particularly given the latest budget that they've announced and the tough decisions they have made on their own people, where they have decided to cut expenditures by £83 billion and to lay off as many as 500,000 civil servants over the next 4 years. The difficulty that we have with the tax is that it's an unfair tax. Instead of being a straightforward tax, it is a tax that has 4 bands and is very discriminatory in nature. And one that if it stays the way that it is, structured the way it is, I believe, and I think the rest of us in the Caribbean believe, can have a severe impact on this region. It was not only until I came home, and actually my father writes articles, and he converted the £150 tax into EC dollars, which is about 600 EC dollars, that it really dawned on me how impactful this was going to be. That the cost of traveling to the UK is going to increase by $600. Now, this tax also offers us a great opportunity to examine our own understanding of tourism. When we had the meetings with the British government, and we indicated to them that we felt that this tax was not only going to be harmful to the Caribbean region, but also was going to be a negative tax to them. And the Minister of Foreign Affairs said to me, "What do you mean by that?" I said, "Well, sir, when you see somebody paying £1,000 to come to visit the Caribbean, understand that they're going to be flying on your airline. Understand that the client is going to book through your travel agency. Understand that that travel agency is going to book through your tour operator. Understand that the client is going to take travel insurance with your insurance company. Understand that those individuals, if they're borrowing money, are going to borrow money through your bank. Understand that those people are going to be traveling through your airport, of which they are going to be paying fees and going to the duty-free shopping. So it is not difficult to imagine that about £1,000 that a person is going to pay, that £650 of that remains in England. It is further complicated by the fact that the tour operators who are selling the packages to the Caribbean are going to be making commissions on the hotel room nights here, and where they stay at all-inclusive hotels, they make commissions on the food and the drink, that they are selling excursions, the trips here on island, and all those profits that they make are being repatriated back to your home country. So this travel industry that you're talking about is in fact a major industry and a major contributor to the GDP of your country. And that when you now start making it more difficult for people to travel abroad, it will have a negative effect. But not only that, do not think for one moment that England is so great that people can do without it. New York City in the early 90s decided to impose a major hotel occupancy tax. And within 2 years, all of the major meetings that were taking place in New York City stopped going, to the extent that they had to take away the tax. Imagine in the case of London. Do you really believe that if people are going to have to pay 120 pounds additional per person, or 150 pounds additional per person, that they're going to go to London when they don't have to pay that same tax in Madrid? They don't have to pay that same tax in Dublin? They don't have to pay that same tax in Paris, or in Brussels, or in Italy, anywhere else in the world? We are in an industry that is free to move, and it's very competitive. And unfortunately, by the time the British government figures out that it is a negative tax, what we are concerned about is the damage that it's going to cause to us in this region. Your minister is also here, in fact, that for the last 20 years, as a region, we've been trying to put together a regional marketing campaign. Something that we all understand the logic of, but have failed to find the commitment to make happen. More recently, we talked about imposing a $5 or $3 tax per ticket in order to raise monies for regional marketing. And we did this just prior to the worst of times that we've seen in a long time. And yet, as a region, we have failed ourselves one more time. He's inheriting a situation in which aviation is now playing a very prominent role. He just talked about it. And where little subtleties happen, and those little subtleties have major impacts on this region. The Puerto Rican government, unhappy with the benefits of having a major hub in Puerto Rico, and that hub brought the fact that it had non-stop flights to over 18 different places in the United States of America, decided to allow low-cost carriers not only to come into Puerto Rico, but then allow those same low-cost carriers to fly to secondary airports in Puerto Rico. As a result of it, it became unviable for American Airlines to continue its hub operations into Puerto Rico. And within 6 weeks, they made the announcement, just at the beginning of the recession, and when the prices of fuel went to $150 a barrel, and reduced from 100 flights a day, they went to 50. And within 6 months after that, they went to 23, and now they've announced they're going to go to 16. The impact on us in this region is the American Eagle flights went from 24 American Eagle planes in Puerto Rico to 11, and are now about to go to 8. And the difficulty is, countries like the British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, Dominica, and St. Vincent, who do not have international airports, and were extremely dependent on that hub, are now having to find alternative locations to be able to bring their business in. Luckily for you, that you were able to move very quickly, and your minister did so, and was able to get flights from Miami, additional flights from Charlotte, and also from New York, to be able to bypass Puerto Rico. We have two things that are threatening us with the aviation industry as we speak. One is the announcement of the British Airways, American Airlines amalgamation, while on a grander scale is a fantastic thing, but relative to this region may bring some difficulties. You've heard that American Airlines just announced that it's reintroducing back 800 staff, and that is to fly more transatlantic flights. Those flights now will require the bigger planes that are flying into Latin America to be moved to transatlantic, which means the medium-sized jets, the 757s, etc., will be moving into Latin America. which means that there may be less planes available for the Caribbean region. Hard on the heels of that is the fact that yield, the revenue on a per passenger mile basis that the airlines have been getting in the United States, is at 14.5 cents, which is the highest it's ever been. So it means that the desire or the quest to move those planes to higher revenue is there. And that now brings new challenges for us as a region. The fundamental challenge that it brings, it means that we now need to be able to create the demand for higher rates in whatever marketing we're going to do. Because all those destinations that cannot yield anything above 14.5 cents, they will be cut. And I can promise you that that will be the case. The other thing that he is now adopting or inheriting is the product in the Caribbean. And while we have made significant strides in the Caribbean, our product is still not up to scratch with other parts of the world. Now, the potential for that product to be great is obviously there, and we see examples of it every single day in our life. But again, the minister has been on top of that, where he's highlighted the fact of refurbishments and making sure that we have unique products that are suitable to us in the Caribbean, ones that are incorporated and involved in part of our culture. Now, you ask, why the Caribbean? What is the advantage that the Caribbean has? Well, the Caribbean does have a comparative advantage in tourism. That comparative advantage lies primarily in our location. We are south of one of the major markets in the world, the United States of America and Canada. We're also within proximity of UK and Europe. And we're just north of Latin America, which is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Also, when a person thinks of a vacation, it is the palm trees and the white sand beaches and the steel pan and the reggae music that one thinks of. So we have that. And that's already well established in people's minds. The key is, how do we get them to be able to fulfill that desire that they have? That is going to be the challenge that we have going down the road. Also, what I'm also encouraged by is that the Caribbean only represents 2.5% of world tourism. 2.5%. And in the last 15 years, we went from a high of 5%. So in fact, in absolute terms, the Caribbean has grown. But relative in terms of market share, we have declined. So it tells you that we are in a business that is growing by leaps and bounds every single day. And up until 2009, tourism on a worldwide basis was growing by 4.5% per year. And I can say to you that despite the loss of revenues in people's pockets, the need to go on a vacation is still more prominent than it's ever been before. And I really do believe that this industry will come roaring back in greater numbers. And the Caribbean is extremely well poised to take advantage of that opportunity.